Smith to throw. Pressure from Hutchinson. Runs away. Great throw. Lockett down in for the end zone. It's over. The Seahawks win it. Looking for Barkley. Diving to the pylon. In for the touchdown. What an effort by Saquon Barkley to get the score. Out of his own end zone, intercepted by Shaq Barrett, fighting at the goal line for a pick six that just might seal the deal for Tampa.
Shaquille Barrett, a guy who was undrafted, hardly played in a few years in Denver, comes here to Tampa Bay, and Todd Bowles says he can remember how hungry he was when he first arrived, and he said, you've got a chance because of that hunger.
First NFL Sunday, that feels like fun. Last one was a good warm-up. This is interesting to see a daily sports show about news, narratives, takes, and gambling in sport and sporting stuff, etc. The Chicago Bears, Justin Fields throws a pick six to a defensive end on a screen. The Detroit Lions come all the way back only to lose in overtime. And the New York Giants come all the way back only to win before it gets to overtime. Huge day in the NFL. A bunch of really great games, but we're going to start in hockey. A quick little update from Spittin' Chiclets. Remember the podcast that said Mike Babcock's doing shady things? Well, it took less than a week. Mike Babcock has resigned as the head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. This means a couple of things. One, Spittin' Chiclets is going to take a huge victory lap and be super annoying about this. And two, that Mike Babcock, it appears as if he was doing the things he was accused of doing. They launched an internal investigation. All the younger players, the Gen Zers, were like, yeah, we're not going to. This sucks. He can't, because he was accused of airplaying photos from people's private phones onto like TV screens in the facility to like embarrass them or something. I don't know, but he's gone now. Anyway, back to football. Starting college, Tennessee got their shit pushed in by Florida. They're not as good, man. I thought that they were going to be good. Quarterback, you can ask Alabama about it too. Quarterback is such an important position. It just is.
He can cut back.
The only three guys dressed in those colors here tonight. Milton under pressure. Hit as he throws, just lofts it up, and it's an interception. There's a flag down where the quarterback was hit. Meanwhile, Devin Moore rolling into the secondary, takes it down inside the 20. We'll see if the interception.
So Tennessee loses. The other top 15 team that lost. Let's see if I can do it from memory. I can't. I do not recall. Bunch of slow starts in the NFL or in college football. Florida State, they were winning against Boston College. Boston College comes back. They had to escape by 2. Texas and Wyoming were tied at 10 going into the fourth quarter. Bama and Southern Florida were tied at 3 into a lightning delay. It was a nightmare for Alabama. They escaped 17-3. Just a bunch of crazy, crazy slow starts. Alabama now ranked 13th. They go down in the rankings after their moral defeat. Washington destroys Michigan State the week after what's-his-name was suspended without pay. Not fired, suspended without pay. And, of course, Georgia starts slow against South Carolina. South Carolina's a good team. They try hard, and that's a weird little rivalry. The big story over the weekend, though, in college football was Colorado State, and in just insanely dirty, nasty, fun at times, but also nasty rivalry. I guess it's technically a rivalry. It was a rivalry at points in the past, but Colorado's just always been so much better than Colorado State that it hasn't really been a rivalry. Probably the best college football player in the country, Travis Hunter. He plays 2 ways, and in this play right here, he gets absolutely demolished. Multiple seconds, I think 2 seconds, or at least 2 steps after the whistle blows. We'll watch it. One of the dirtier plays I've seen in college football in a long time.
Fundamentals. Got to look at Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator. Moment ago, downfield.
I mean, late.
Incomplete, but a flag down. He intended for Hunter.
Hunter ends up going to the hospital. I think they were checking up for rib stuff and chest stuff. He apparently is okay, but he's going to be out a couple of weeks. Colorado up big and then down by 10 late in the game. They come from behind 10, go to overtime, win the game. The big story for them was the shit talking between Jay Norvell, who is black, by the way, two black head coaches, and apparently the comments he was saying were directed at his own team and taken out of context, and this is just a story that won't die. But the Colorado fans rushed the field. I think you get a pass here because they were their worst team in college football last year. All of a sudden, they're good. They rushed the field. First home game with Dion, Colorado State, fine. If they rush the field one more time this season, they're dead. Unless, I don't know. I think they play on the road at Utah. No more rushing the field. You get one a year. You get one a year. I think that is completely adequate amount of field rushing, in my opinion. Let's go to the National Football League. The Detroit Lions down 10. They come back to lose the game in overtime to Seattle, who has now beaten them 3 times in a row. The over hits in a huge way for the third time in a row for Seattle. Detroit, you can always, it's like it's like a power strip in some sort of racing video game. You just zoom. They just score and score and score. Not a lot of defense to write home about. There was a pick six. Jared Goff threw a pick six on a choice route that Jahmyr Gibbs ran incorrectly. The Commanders are real. We may have had some controversy in the Washington Commanders game. Was this pass interference? It's on your screen right now. This is a 2-point conversion. Denver has scored. They were down 8. They scored with no time on the clock. 2-point conversion.
Watch crossers. You've got to be disciplined here if you're Washington.
Wilson to the end zone, batted down and incomplete. Intended for Sutton.
Let's watch it one more time. Slow down. We'll mute you so it's not annoying. So let's see. There he is. I don't know where the ball is. Flying through the air. There it is. We see the ball right there-ish. It's flying. See it? Flying through the air, and there he's on him. Yeah, that's interference, man. I mean, look at it. Boom. So the Commandos escape. 2-0 for them. The Giants were down, and this is a real thing. They, in the first 2 games, in the first 6 quarters of the season, they spotted their opponents 60 points. They started the season 60-0. But then they turned it around because the Cardinals are playing hard. They remind me a lot of the Lions couple years ago where they're playing really hard. I thought that Shane Steichen would be one and done. Playing their ass off. They end up giving up the comeback to the Giants. When the Giants were down 20-0, I put a bunch of money on the Giants to cover the new spread, which went from Giants -3 or 2 or something to Giants plus 8.5. That was easy money. Anytime there's a big thing like that, you're like, this is just a weird situation. The Titans beat the Chargers. Justin Herbert, this is hilarious. He can't win ball games. I don't understand it. It's not him. Here's the thing. Justin Herbert has become the new Matthew Stafford. They're like, whose problem is it? We're like, well, at a certain point, it's your fault. It isn't. I don't think it was ever Matthew Stafford's fault. I really don't. I don't think it was. Justin Herbert's last 4 games. Here, I'll bring it up just for you guys so you can see it because I gotta get better at that exact kind of thing. Just because, you know. I'm trying to be a professional here, folks. In Justin Herbert's last 4 games, 1,130 passing yards, 282 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 65% completion percentage. They've won none of those 4 games. Brandon Staley is going to get fired. That much is obvious. The Titans, they're plucky. You got to beat them. They are a baseline team. You got to be if you're going to play the Titans, you got to beat them on. You just got to. They're going to play the same way every single time. Josh Allen bounces back, and a bunch of people's hot takes look stupid. Justin Fields is terrible. The Chiefs look slow. The Jags look good. They do come from behind. A lot of Taylor Swift jokes being made around the internet because Travis Kelce is perhaps dating or hanging quietly, quote unquote, hanging out like in high school. The Colts beat the Texans. Anthony Richardson exits the game really early, and Gardner Minshew comes in and scores, I think off the top of my head, 17 points. They beat the Texans. But good news for the Texans, and it's one of these things I've been learning about this and hearing from people, pretty early on in players' careers. There's not a lot of players develop much later in their careers. Some do. Like the Geno Smith thing is the exception to the rule. The rule is like first 10 games, Well, C.J. Stroud is getting to the point where we know. I want to see him against a better opponent. C.J. Stroud has 300-yard passing games. He has more 300-yard passing games than Justin Fields. He's currently 4th in the NFL and 2nd in the AFC in passing with 626. He's good. Like, I thought that he would be the best in this class. Well, actually, I kind of thought Bryce Young might be, but Bryce Young plays tonight. Let's go to Monday Night Football and look at what we got going on. I think I have some plays for you. So I don't want to parlay, you annoying douche canoe. So the Steelers are 2.5-point home underdogs to the Browns, and because the Browns look good against the Bengals. Bengals Ravens. Bengals went down and then woke up, but it was too late. No, we didn't talk about that game. Nothing interesting. Just a close NFL football game. I like the Steelers at home underdogs. I don't think they're that bad. I think the Niners are that good. Matthew Stafford, by the way, is the best player in the NFL at this point in time. Puka Nacua, who the hell is that guy? Only the best receiver in the NFL, statistically speaking, anyway. And I like the Saints. The Saints are actually a good team. 3 is not enough. They'll win by 9. Remember, this game, they're happening simultaneously, kind of. So Cleveland at Pittsburgh, I don't know what network it's on, and it doesn't matter. They're on networks. 7:15 p.m. Central Time, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. 7:15 Eastern Time, New Orleans at Carolina. So the Saints and Panthers first, and then Browns and Steelers second, because we're moving time zones, which makes sense, I suppose. Well, Pittsburgh's in the East, but pretty close anyway. Okay. Over-under in Saints-Panthers is 39.5. Gross. Over-under for Steelers-Browns is 39.5. I love that. Okay, so I love the Steelers to cover 2.5 points. I love the over at 38.5. What's that? 5 touchdowns and a field goal-ish. But I don't love it for the Saints and the Panthers. I think the Panthers are absolutely continue to tank and rebuild mode, which is funny because they don't have their picks. The Bears have them. Over the weekend, Matt Campbell used to be the hottest name in coaching. Got really mad. Not the only coach to get mad. Here's Mizzou head coach that got mad at his crowd for booing his quarterback.
Pissed me off when we booed our starting quarterback to start the game. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
And he went out there and played his butt off.
He did. SEC beats the Big 12 and loses to some other teams. It's not really important. Okay, talk to you tomorrow.